Hello, my friends. Pernilla Little Rose here. I hope you're having a good day. I ran into a friend of mine today that I hadn't seen for quite a while, and we had a wonderful connection and conversation, actually out in my garden. It's one of my neighbors, and she just shared with me that she's going to retire and was in that process. And I say, "Wow! So what are you going to do?" And she didn't know. She says, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to do." And it's, of course, because she has been raising two children. She's had a busy full-time job. Um, so she has not really had time to really consider that. And I think that is very, very common in the world, that most people are so busy to either make money to survive, make ends meet, or be successful, or trying to change the world. There can be many ways we do that, but not necessarily that we are connected with this inner thing that has a purpose, or purpose is maybe a wrong word, has an expression that feels like kind of an energy that kind of wants to expand in one way or another. I would say we probably all have a different way of experiencing that. But as long as we are so focused on the outer world, we are not living our truth. We're not getting a taste of our own divinity. And taste, what does it taste like? If I can use that word, what does it taste like? What does your own divinity feel like, taste like, maybe even smell like? It's an inner sense that it's like, oh. And when we lose touch with that, which most people have lost touch with, then we get lost in the world, the outside world, or the matrix. And out in the matrix, that is where we experience ourselves as separate from the divine. Maybe separate from an outer divine, depending on where you are on your spiritual journey. There's still a lot of projecting the spiritual outside of ourselves. But when we start realizing that it's actually in here, and that outer reflection that shows up in many of the spiritual teachers is basically something that's ready to be met in us. They do say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So then we have an external expression of our inner teacher for a while. And that can be very, very helpful. I've been with many wonderful spiritual teachers. And I think it's been really, really helpful to just let go of the world, let go of the teacher eventually, and then just find my own divinity, get a taste of my own divinity. And it's very delicious. I want to say that. But it's hard to get in touch with as long as we are too identified and too busy in the world that we don't have time to turn within. And that's the same with my neighbor friend here. Just been too busy and not really going deep enough. I just asked, well, what do you like? What do you love to do? She shared some things that are lovely, but it's still out here. It's something you enjoy doing, which is great. But there's something that is so much deeper, and it's this sense of longing for something. And if you are interested in exploring that more, I want to invite you to join my monthly online gathering called Feel Your Deepest Longing, Find Your Divine Calling. And that will be actually in 2 days. I will put the link in the description below. So if you want to do it with other people, reach out, because it is really true that most people have no clue. And it's like you're just walking around in the world, not really having a goal or direction. It's one of these tumbleweeds, it's just going wherever the wind blows. But there's not a clear direction from the inside that is here for a reason. There is a reason that you are here, that I am here. I would say that reason is not to get lost out there like a tumbleweed. There's something that's much more fulfilling than being a tumbleweed. Unless you are a tumbleweed, of course, then that is the perfect thing to be. But there is something inside of us. And as we are moving through this big shift in consciousness and in the world, it's really, it behooves us to take the time to be quiet and tune into that, or open up to that with a question mark. Like, what is this stillness? What is this presence? It's not something we can do in the mind. And I do hear that many times people talk about things they want to do in the world, but it is all happening in the mind. And it's great. There's a lot of things that need to be done in the world. It's not a criticism, but it may not necessarily touch the depth of the longing and the taste of the divine. And that's not something we can process in our mind, in our mental mind. It is something that is beyond that. And when we tune into that, not only is it a wonderful experience, a sweetness, a sweet feeling, but it also carries with it something that we can contribute something in the world. It may not be something huge and amazing. And I think there's a lot of confusion around that we don't all need to have some fantastic, purpose in life where we reach thousands and thousands of people and change their lives. It can be so simple that we basically just live from this place or as this place and make that a daily abiding place so that we do not lose touch with it anymore. Of course, that's been my own journey for many, many years, and it's been getting easier and easier. And as it gets easier to connect with this and be this, it's easier to keep letting go of this outer world that doesn't really have a deep sense of satisfaction. Momentarily, absolutely. Maybe for a longer time, absolutely. And it may very well be connected to your deeper calling. That's not for me to know, that's for you to know. But if not, when we start really tasting the divine, tasting our own divinity, then we're connected with it. And in that connection, for me, I don't want to be a part of it, away from it. I want to just be connected with it always because it's who I am. It's my true nature. It's my flavor of the divine. It has, each of us have a special flavor of that, right? And when you get a taste of your own flavor, then you'll notice that it's very different from your neighbor and your friends and your family. And what we then tend to do is to think, oh, it's wrong, I need to be like them, or if I don't, do the same as they do, or see it in a different way, then there might be conflict. And that's where we shrink back. I think I talked about that yesterday. Then we shrink back because we're not really valuing who we are. We think we find our value from what other people say, but it has to be in here. And when we all do that, then the world can really expand, because then we're not all walking around holding that energy in. this energy wants to come out and expand. And we will only know what it is when we take the time to go inside and listen. And many times we may not know what it means, but we can feel something. There's like, oh, there's something here. And I can kind of sense something. You may have some images or some ideas. This happened to me lately, and I was just letting it be, letting it be. And then I shared it with some friends, and then something opened up, because then it was kind of the energy was liberated, and then other people can maybe fill in something that I'm not fully aware of yet. So that's why the more of us tune in here, taste our own divinity, maybe share it in whatever way. It could be on a YouTube, it could be with your friends, your family, whatever, with your dog, your cat. And then you kind of let it out to be met by others. And then others may say, oh, yeah, I sense that too. And then when I sense into it, then this comes up for me. So then the ball is rolling, and each of us, each taste or flavor of our divinity is shared. And then we start creating a whole new tapestry. And that tapestry is not experienced in this world at this time because we are all holding it back. We're clamping it down, but it wants out because there is a whole new way of being, a new earth expression compared to the one we have now. And you know what's happening now. It's all that bickering and conflict, duality, polarization. That we don't want to do that. We have to completely take our hands off. And if somebody wants to talk to you about certain things, then make sure the conversation is something where there's actually a real interest in listening to each other, right? Because when we deeply listen to each other, then some of this newness can come out. But if you're connecting with somebody who has a very strong opinion about something and you feel that you're not going to be heard, well, no matter what you say, then there's no point of saying anything, right? Because why bother? Why waste your energy? And then nothing new can come out of that. But if this person, has a strong opinion and is open to hearing what your experience is, then you might get a whole new energy moving. And then the new tapestry can come out of that. Maybe just one little piece, it might be a puzzle piece in a big puzzle, a peace puzzle, the masterpiece. So that's how I want to just keep inviting all of us, including myself, to just keep listening deeply. It's like, what is this? What wants to happen? What is this trying to tell me? And stay with that. You may have to stay with that for a long time because there's been so many layers suppressing it. So it needs to move through that, and that can be very uncomfortable. I think I've shared that before. It can be very uncomfortable because when this wants to come out, the resistance wants to keep it in, right? And that's where there's like this discomfort, conflict with inside, doubt. And that's why it's good to have somebody to have to get support by going through this. Maybe somebody you can hold your hand who understands this process. So you'll learn to just stay here while this is doing its thing. And you're just like, no, this is really what I want. I want to listen to this. I don't want to listen to that anymore because it doesn't bring me any fulfillment or happiness or peace or love. It's just like this disturbance. So you learn to just stay in your own flavor. And it's really nice when you have other people celebrate your flavor. It's like, yeah, that's so you. Yeah, speak that, say that, sing that. And then there's like, oh, and then the flower starts blooming. And then, there's a whole new garden with many, many amazing flowers that have just been hiding on the ground because they didn't know it was okay to come out. So if you need support, please reach out. This is something I really, really love to do, to help the little flowers, the petals start opening up. It's just a great joy to see that. I'm sure you understand that. Or if you have other people supporting you, please reach out. These times that we're going through right now are very, very important, that we really find our own flavor, our own taste, and start tasting it so that you go like, oh yeah, that's it. Or it's a feeling. It's like, oh yeah, it's that. It's like, oh yeah. So that you get to know it so well that you will never want to give it up again. So let's try that. And again, if you want to join me this coming Tuesday, please click on the link that I put in the description, and it would be lovely to meet you. And I think you would really enjoy being with others who are also moving through this, I would say, a portal to fully becoming who we are. And it's very, very different than who we think we are. Thank you so much.